Hello everyone and welcome to or back to Tahari Talks, your therapy in addition to the therapy where we get your mental and your spiritual right all at the very same time. This is episode 27 of Tahari Talks, where we will be talking your 2025 success starter kit. All of the things that we need to hear to know either at the very end of 2024 or at the very beginning of 2025 to start this year off with a bang, to start the year off with momentum, to start the year off and have not only the year that we want to have, but the year that we deserve to have. And when you prepare properly, you are setting yourself up to succeed. Of course, life will have its way, but when you plan and do your part, things will be a lot smoother. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to say, I feel like last episode we were at maybe not even 700 subscribers, but we're now at 8 going on 900. So I just want to say thank y'all so much as Tahari Talks continues to grow. I am so proud of where it's come, where it's going, where it's growing. I was just saying on my Instagram story the other day, I remember in April posting that it was 33 people watching, and I was watching a Tabitha Brown interview where she was saying that she knew what God told her to do and how he told her to do it, and she would go online and she would have 33 viewers. And I feel like I watched it at that time as confirmation that God did indeed tell me to do Tahari Talks, and that eventually he would bring the people, the audience that was Tahari Talks audience. And he's doing that. It's being proven, it's being evidenced in the day-to-day, the week-to-week. And I'm very grateful for each and every one of you that are here, that are coming, and that continue to show up with me every single week. So if you have not committed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me, as well as the bell notification icon, so that you don't miss out on any future Tahari Talks episodes. I upload new topics every week to help us get our lives together. We touch on the natural, we touch on the spiritual, we pray together, and then we end things off until the next week. Like I said, this episode is all about the 2025 starter kit. And similar to the last episode, I was feeling like this episode should have been up probably like the day after Christmas, 2 days after Christmas. But y'all, when I say Thursday came and I thought, no, Friday came. I'm still thinking it's Thursday. Friday came and I thought Friday was Thursday for at least half of the day. Like that week between Christmas and New Year's, it flies by and I was not able to keep up. Time has been a far concept for me in these past few days. So forgive me for just getting this episode on up, but it is Sunday and I'm recording this and I plan to have it out tomorrow. So I'm not playing with pushing it out once I record it, and you would definitely have it in your arsenal on all the platforms before New Year's Day. Now, before we get into today's episode, I do want to go ahead and note and say that I know there are many videos out here like this. Your 2025 starter pack, your success kit, your how to get it done, how to enter the year and make it the best year yet. Every year people make a bunch of these videos and a lot of them regurgitate the same information, but I was very careful. Y'all know I always say this. When I talk about certain topics, I'm sure not to go and listen to a bunch of different videos, because I don't want to be a victim of regurgitating the same information that's already been put out. So it is my hope that you're able to take something different, something unique that speaks to you personally from this video that you have not heard before. And even if there are some things that you have heard before, hopefully in addition to that, there's something that is new for you or something that is reinforced for you that you're like, okay, that's confirmation. I heard it before and I heard it again, but I still have not moved on it. So this is my opportunity. This is my confirmation that I need to move on that thing. I do believe that this will offer something unique, starting with the fact that Tahari Talks is the place where we not only talk about your mental, but we also talk about that spiritual aspect. We also talk about ideas and concepts that are biblically sound, that are backed biblically. So it's not only helping you to elevate mentally, but it's also helping you to elevate spiritually. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about the lane that Tahari Talks has maybe not fallen into, but has created. And that's one thing now I will forever stand on. We not only get your mental right here, but we also are talking about the spiritual. I also know that whenever this audio or video gets to you, whenever you come across it, that you'll find it at the exact time that is needed for you, at the exact time that you need to hear it, that you need to see it. And I trust in that, because that's always how our God works. So with that being said, let's start this thing off with the spiritual aspect of jumping into the new year and doing so successfully. So the first verse that we'll be reading today is Revelation 21:5. And one thing about it, if the speaker says that the scripture is in Genesis or Revelation, baby, you ain't got to say too much after that, because we getting right to it. We know where those two are. If we don't know where nothing else is, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Revelation, and Genesis, yeah, don't worry about nothing. Okay. So Revelation 21:5 says, "He who was seated on the throne said, I am making everything new. Then he said, write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." He then goes on to say, "It is done. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life." Y'all already know I'm going to say, like I say in every video, go and read it for yourself because it's meaty in there. But we're going to focus on verse 5. The parts that I want y'all to focus on for the sake of this episode is that the word tells us to write it down. That he's not only saying, let this seep into your heart, but in addition to it seeping into your heart, I want you to put that thing on paper. I want you to put it on a scroll if we're talking biblical times. So here the word is speaking of writing down the words of the Lord because they are that trustworthy. They are that true. They are so sure that you can write down that thing and it's going to come to pass. And not only that, but it reminds us of how important it is not to only let things take root in your heart, to take root in your mind, to take root in your soul, but also in the physical realm to write things down so that you can come back to it. I was just talking about that 2 episodes ago in the Power of a Praying Wife episode where I was saying write your prayers down so that you can come back and test God with his own words. Hey, this is what you said. I wrote this down. And then you came back full turn and answered that thing, did that thing. It's reminding us of the power in putting things down on paper and in words in the physical realm. New Year's is a time where a lot of people make vision boards or they write their goals or they write their prayers down. And that's just showing that that's not something that we just do because it's worldly practice, but it's also biblically sound that if you write that thing and it's backed by something that the Lord has said, then it's trustworthy and true and you can count on that thing coming to pass. So this go around for 2025, when you're writing down your goals or writing your vision board, be intentional with the things that you're writing. Don't just write it because you're just pulling any idea out of the plain blue sky. But if you know within your heart that you're called to a certain thing, or you know within your heart that you received a prophecy on a thing, or you prayed a prayer about a thing, write it down with the intention and with the expectancy that is going to come to pass. So the second verse is Ephesians 4:22 through 24. And it says, "You were taught with regard to your former way of life to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on the new self, created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness." So here Ephesians is talking about putting off your old self. What is the classic tagline of a new year? New year, new me. New year, new habits. New year, new self. And again, this goes to show that we don't just say those things as Christians specifically just to say it or because it sounds good or because those are the things of the world. But in saying that, it is biblically backed. Yet again, it's talking about putting off your old self, putting off your former manner of life. Credibility is given to the fact that Christians can become new in Christ, in true righteousness and in holiness. So this is just a reminder that in the slow but sure process of putting away old habits, of putting away old ways of life, of putting away old versions of yourself, that you very well can become a new version of yourself, a new creature in Christ, one that is righteous, one that is holy. I feel like with time it's become like a joke. Like, I don't want to hear none of that new year, new me stuff. Or if you come new year, new me, I don't want to hear it. You don't got to say it to the people that's being negative about it. But I need you to know that whatever you want to accomplish, whatever you want to become, whatever you want to achieve, whatever ways that you want to acquire about yourself, you can do it. And the word says that you can do it, no matter what man is saying. I need them acrylics back. And then last but not least, the last scripture is Psalm 65:11. And it says, "You crown the year with your bounty and your carts overflow with abundance." And in this verse, it's just giving praise to the Lord for crowning the year with his bounty and his wagon track overflowing with abundance. And this isn't the prosperity teaching of, because God's wagon track overflows with abundance, that means that I'm going to get a new car in 2025, a new house in 2025, a new man or a woman in 2025. I'm going to acquire things. But here it's speaking to the provision. It's speaking to God, the provider, the fact that his presence, his identity as provider doesn't just supply enough, but it supplies more than enough, that it overflows with abundance, that every need will be met, that we can trust that he will give us everything that we need to succeed in every area. So that thing that we may be wanting, even if it is a thing, is not going to fall from the sky, but instead he'll give us the peace so that we can hear clearly from him. And then in hearing clearly from him, then we'll be able to go and do the thing that will produce the abundance and the prosperity in our lives through him. And not only that, but in that process, in the process of the peace, in the process of the hearing, in the process of the doing, in the process of the blessing, we'll grow closer to him and knowing him in different ways that will far exceed the things that we acquire out of the process, but who we become in the process and who we come to know him as in the process. And so here's just reminding us that he crowns the year with his bounty, and his wagon track overflows with abundance. That's who he is. His track record shows that he will provide every time, and he won't just supply just enough or almost enough, but more than enough. One commentary put it this way: Psalm 65:11 is a reminder that God is generous, faithful, and loving in his provision. It encourages people to trust in his care, live with gratitude, and recognize that all good things come from him. Not just the things, but all good things: the health, the sustaining, again, the provision, the safety, the peace. And in acknowledging that, in acknowledging God as a provider of peace, in acknowledging God as a provider of safety, and in acknowledging God as the Father, you will come to a point where you don't care about the things. You will be so enamored with the fact that he is holy, he is just, he is righteous, he is gracious, he is all-knowing, he is ever-present, and he will never leave you nor forsake you, that the things, again, will be secondary, because we'll be focused on the fact that he's good, our Savior, our God. So those are the 3 verses that I want you to keep in mind and meditate on as you move into this new year. And now we're going to jump into the practical tips on starting your 2025 off with a bang, baby. I have 10 tips. Let's not delay. Let's get right into them. So first things first, I want you to take a second between today and the 31st, or the first week in the year. I want you to take a second and evaluate your 2024. Evaluate what went well. What did you do well? Who did you become? How did you grow? What lessons did you learn? Because like I always say, there are no losses. There are only lessons. So what lessons did you learn? Did you max out that credit last year and you learned that I got to be a little more careful in how I go about doing this? What habits did you cultivate in 2024, or maybe in years prior, but you continued in 2024 that you want to take into 2025? What habits do you need to leave behind? What people do you possibly need to leave behind? Do a full evaluation. Is there any distance and space that you may have put in certain areas or relationships that you would like to bridge that gap? Keep it where it's at. Cut it all off. Evaluate that in every area with everybody and everything. Because a lot of times we just go. We're achieving the next thing, doing the next thing, getting to the next place, and we don't even stop to think. Like, I was sitting there yesterday. It feels like I've been a mom of 2 for like 5 years. But the other day, I'm like, girl, you had a baby last year. In my mind, that was like 2 years ago. And sometimes I'm hard on myself, like I should be doing, I could be. And it's like, you had a whole human last year, changed your career, started Tahari Talks, became a full-time virtual entrepreneur. Like, you've done a lot in a little bit of time. I need you to pause, evaluate that, sit in that, give gratitude for that, congratulate yourself for that, give yourself grace in where you are and where you're going, but also just stop and reflect. We pushed out a whole human and have done a lot even aside from that since then. So sit down and think about the things that you've done, the ways that you've grown, who you've become, the prayers that have been answered. Because not only will it allow you to see, I've probably done a lot more than I give myself credit for, but it will also give you an idea of where you are, where you would like to go. Because how are we going to plan when we don't know where we are? Or how are we going to plan the future when we don't know our history or where we came from? So start with evaluation. And like I say, even on a spiritual tip, evaluate who you've become on your spiritual journey, how you've grown closer to God, if that's your story. Think about the ways that you would like to, if that's not your story. I'm getting ahead of myself, as always. All right, let's go on to the next tip, girl. Secondly, I want you to come up with a word for your year. I started this in 2024. Whenever I would do my dry erase calendar at the end of last year, I would do a word for each month. And so I was like, I don't want to just do it by the month. I should come up with a theme, a word for my year as well. So in 2024, the word for my year was elevation. And every time I would hear the word in conversation or in certain ways, it would be a reminder that that is your word for the year. And I wanted everything that I did in the summation of my year to reflect that word. And I can honestly say that's been the case. I don't know what my word will be for 2025 yet, but whatever that looks like for you, your word may be peace, your word may be joy, your word may be strength, like whatever you want that to look like. Fun, if you've been living your life real bored and you want to have more fun in 2025, travel, whatever your word is, come up with a word for your year so that you will always, even if you don't have goals for the month, you have a word that you want to embody. Like, all right, month 6 comes around, June comes around, you like, bro, you ain't really been, it's not giving elevation, it's not giving fun, it's not giving whatever your word is. then you can kind of say, okay, what do I need to do, or where do I need to go? How do I need to move in order to embody what I said my word was going to be for the year? And that goes back to not just saying things, not just putting labels on things because it sounds good, but really embodying it and really sticking to it and really following through with what you say you're going to do. Number 3, and I didn't do this on purpose, this is just how it panned out, but number 3, funny enough, is that I want you to come up with 3 non-negotiables to keep you grounded. A lot of people come up with these whole new identities that they want to become in a new year, but we try to pick up too many habits too fast. So it's like, I'm gonna work out twice. Knowing you ain't worked out in the past 12 months, I'm gonna work out twice a day. One time I'll be outside, I'm gonna drink a gallon of water every day, I'm gonna read a book, I'm gonna read my Bible, and I'm gonna go to bed at 8 p.m., wake up at 5 a.m., do my skincare morning and night, and I'm not gonna eat no sweets. And it sounds great, it sounds wonderful, but if you don't do all 10 things on those lists, what's your non-negotiable of a 3? If you have a bad week, if you're sick that week, what are going to be the 3 non-negotiables that you make sure that you stick to no matter what? If you're traveling and you're not able to have access to the things that normally you would be doing, what are 3 non-negotiables that you can do anywhere, anytime, no matter what your financial situation is looking like, no matter what your headspace is like, no matter what your health is like? 3 non-negotiables. So yours might be, I'm going to talk to God for the first 3 minutes as soon as I open my eyes instead of grabbing my phone, no matter what. Yours may be, I'm gonna have one home cooked meal every single week, no matter what the rest of the week looks like. Yours may be, and this is mine because I aim to read 2 chapters of the Bible every night because I'm still on my journey of trying to read the whole Bible. But sometimes, y'all, I ain't gonna lie to you, I be dog tired. And so it's rare that I don't read both chapters, but sometimes I'm like, all right, if I don't do anything else, I'm gonna at least read one. If it's not my normal 2, it's gonna be the 1. What are gonna be the 3 non-negotiable habits that you will make sure that you stay true to no matter what else falters? For my women, your hormones are all over the place. You on your cycle, you feeling down bad. What are gonna be the things that you do, and you make sure that you do those things even though you're not feeling good, and make it something that doesn't cost you a lot. It doesn't cost you a lot of time or resources, but it's something that's good for you and good to you. And also try to make it stackable. Like for me, my nighttime routine consists of, I'm gonna do my skincare and then I'm gonna read my Bible every night. So a lot of times those end up being, all right, I might have not done or accomplished much today, but I'm gonna wash that face, I'm gonna do my skincare routine, and I'm gonna read my word if I don't do nothing else. And those 3 things, it may not sound big, but the next day when you thinking, dang, I ain't do nothing yesterday, you can't say you didn't do nothing because you accomplished your 3 non-negotiables. Or you may be in a crappy mental space for an entire week, but you'll look back and say, oh, I got progress on this though. I got progress on this book because I said I'm gonna read a page every day, and I still stuck to that even though I'm feeling trash in every other area. My skin is clearing up because I stuck to my routine even though I didn't feel like doing anything else on my list. So find your 3 non-negotiables and stick to them, baby. If you don't do nothing else, stick to those 3. Make them small. They don't have to be much. My next tip is to start the year off by completing something challenging. So for me personally, my church every year for January, we do 21 days of consecration where it'll be like some type of dietary restriction. It may be a social media fast in conjunction with it, but we're not really eating fried foods, fast foods. Sometimes it's no meat. Starting your year off like that not only gives your body a reset, a detox that it more than likely needs, but it also gives you that momentum to be like, you know what, in January I came in swinging, baby. I did something hard. I showed myself that I'm capable of committing to a thing, committing to a habit. So now from February to December, I can do hard things. I can complete new tasks because I already started the year off by proving to myself that I could. Whatever it looks like for you, it doesn't have to be a consecration or a fast necessarily, but for you it might be, I'm not going to be on socials for all of January. I'm not going to spend any unnecessary money in January. That's kind of vague, but something that is actually a challenge for you, not anything that comes easy to you. Like, I'm not going to have any wine in January when you don't drink at all, or I'm not going to drink any soda and you don't keep soda in your house. That's not hard for you. Something that is challenging to you already, something that will actually be a sacrifice to you. Start your year off with proving to yourself that you can. Next, it would not be a Tahari Talks episode if we did not incorporate this, but make it a goal to get in your word in 2025. Y'all know I always say I used to be guilty of looking for the blueprint. God, show me the blueprint. And he gave us the blueprint. It's right here. Get in this in 2025. I'm not going to sit and tell you should read this amount of pages by the day, or this goal of reading the entire Bible by this date, or this amount of months or weeks, because only you know what your personal goals are. Only you know what your schedule looks like and what your mental capacity is like. But if you're trying to elevate spiritually and grow closer to Jesus, notice I said Jesus and not just God. If you're trying to grow closer to Jesus, the way to do that is not only in prayer, but also in getting in your word. And there are so many commentaries, so many books to go along with the Bible. There are so many versions of the Bible that are suitable and fitting for each type of personality person. I even saw on TikTok the other day, y'all, they have a comic book Bible that gives illustrations in a comic book view of the word. So there's really no excuse. There's an audiobook version, there's free versions online, there's the KJV and everything to the NLT to the CSC. Like, there's every type of version, and there's so many resources. And not only that, but AI is working hand in hand with helping you to understand the word. Like, when I'm going through reading, if there's something that I need breakdown on, I'll just search it, like meaning of Jeremiah 56:11. AI will generate the explanation to the verse that I'm seeking. So there's really no excuse. Getting your word. It's on Google for free. And if you are somebody who wants to read the whole Bible, again, there are resources for that. I've mentioned her channel before, but Tiffany Talago, my girl, she has a free Read the Bible in 6 months reading plan where she offers a breakdown of how much you need to read, when you need to read it, and how you need to do it. She also has a bunch of videos on her channel where she talks about her Bible study resources, how she studies the Bible, and all different things. So I'll be sure to link her channel below so that you can check that out if you're interested. Again, there are so many channels, so many resources, so many books, every type of resource, whatever is suitable for you. If you're visual, audio, whatever, there's no excuse. Get in your word in 2025, baby. I don't care if it's a verse a day. Get in there, because I'm learning now that when the word is embedded in your heart, in your soul, without having to see it, it gives you a peace that supersedes anything else. Just today I received a prophecy in church, and the prophet was saying it'll be like Amos, and I've been quoting that in my head, like things will start to happen so fast that your head will swim. When he said Amos, I didn't have to be like, oh, I wonder what Amos say. I'm gonna go read Amos when I get to the house, because I've already been in my word. I already know what you're referring to. Yeah, I got in the car and I still read it again so that I could say, all right, God, you attach my name to this thing even more so than you already have by giving me your word. You attach my name to it personally again today, so let me go back and read it again. But I already had an idea for what was there because I've already been in my word. Don't wait for the pastor to tell you what's there. Know it for yourself. Allow them to confirm it to you, and then build on the foundation. But let the foundation be that you went and already read what he gave to you. Don't insult him by not going in what he already provided to you. Every night when I go into my word, I say, God, thank you for sharing your word with me. Whatever it is that you want me to see, whatever you want me to gain, whatever you want to illuminate from the page onto my heart, into my heart, do that for me. And I thank you. I always end the prayer by saying, thank you for sharing your word with me, because he doesn't have to do it. He could have said, nah, y'all ain't worthy. Let me take it up here and keep it with me for myself. But no, he shares it with us and gives us so many ways in which to experience it. So don't do yourself the disservice of not taking advantage. That ended up being a whole tangent. But yes, number 6. Don't just set goals, because that's a given. Everybody is setting goals right now. But I need you to tailor your goals to you. Don't copy the goals list of your favorite influencer, the goals list of your favorite pastor, the goals list of your mom, your sister, your mentor, your boss, your brother, your dad, whoever. Tailor your goals to suit you and you only. How will you meet your goals if the goals don't even align with what you have going on? All your goals are to do stuff in the wee hours of the morning. You're not even a morning person. You have to do what works for you. So what does that mean? What does that look like? That looks like not getting a paper planner if you've been doing that since 2020 and they're still sitting there blank, and you know you're more of a virtual planner type of girl or guy. That means not making a digital visual board if you know that it's going to get left on Canva and you're not going to look at it ever again, and you know that you're more of a, let me cut these pictures out of this magazine and stick them on this poster board and put it in my room because I'll look at it every day and I'll be reminded of what's on my vision board. You have to do what works for you, not what's popular, not what's trending, but what works for you. And also be real with yourself about the circumstances and the resources that you have access to. So for me personally, I love the beach. I would love for one of my goals to be to visit the beach weekly for self-care and go and listen to the waves and sit in the sand and rub my toes in the sand. But I know that I live inland and there's no beach anywhere within 4 hours of me. So I'm not going to make that a goal because that's not tailored to my lifestyle. Whereas somebody that lives on an island or that lives on a coast, that lives down the street and can drive or walk to the beach, that would be suitable for them. So tailor your goals to fit your lifestyle, your likes, your tendencies in a way that will allow you to get it done. And nothing is too small. No goal is too small or too big. It may start off as the tiniest habit change, and then eventually you can build on that. But start small and work your way up. You don't gotta try and take off these huge chunks. Start in small bites and work your way up. Going hand in hand with the goals, I want you to make sure that you have benchmarks and breakdowns for your goals. Benchmarks being, how will you measure this goal? Are we going to come back monthly, weekly, and look at this? How will you know that you're reaching the goals? Okay, I want to save 10K in the year, so I need to have this amount saved by the week, this amount saved by the day, this amount saved by the month, and I'll know that I'm on track based on these numbers looking a certain way. Instead of just setting goals for the year where you have these big goals, break it down by the month, break it down by the category. Me personally, I break it down to the different areas of my life: my goals in business, my goals in my home, my goals as a mother, my goals as a wife, my own personal goals, my fitness goals. There's so many categories, so don't just make these broad goals of, oh, I want to be healthier. Okay, what does that look like? What does that feel like? How will you do that? Oh, I want to be more financially savvy. How, sister? How are we going to do that? Are we going to buy a book? Are we going to learn? Are we going to save? Are we going to invest? What is it going to look like for you that is going to work for you? And also going hand in hand with that, the next thing that I want you to do is think more than what you want to accomplish, but think about who you want to become. If you listen to gurus in mental health and in the space of becoming your best self, your highest self speak, then one thing that you will hear them say is that you can say all day long what you want to do, what you want to do, what you want to do. But rather than talking about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, it's even better to talk about who you want to become. Start at the top and work your way on down. If you say you want to become this type of person, what does that type of person do? What do their daily habits consist of? Your habits combined create your life. What do their habits look like? Where do they go? How do they dress? How do they speak? Who do they hang around? Where do they live? What do they read? Do they read? Do they work out? What's their diet like? Again, your habits build your life, and in you knowing who you want to become, that will show you the areas that you need to fine tune in order to become that person. Because you may talk about who you want to become and realize that you are already that in certain areas or in many areas. Or you may realize that that person is a complete stranger to you. And again, that will give you the blueprint for how you need to maneuver as far as, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is how that ideal me acts, dresses, thinks, whatever. This is what I need to do to bridge the gap between where I am now and where they are. How do I get closer to them? How does 2025 act as a bridge between me and my future self, or me and my highest self? So the second to last thing that I want you to keep in mind while you are stepping into 2025 to make sure that it is a successful one, because I feel like I would not be doing the aunties, the grandmothers, the ancestors, all of the ones before me, the black aunties, I wouldn't be doing them justice if I did not say this one. But reset your physical space. Pull out those boxes, pull out the garbage bags, pull out the suitcases, pull out the drawers, the closets, the junk drawers, all of it. Reset your physical space before we go into this new year. Y'all know they don't play that. Like, you're not doing laundry on New Year's Day. What did they used to say? If you do laundry New Year's Day, you'll wash somebody out your life. Of course, I don't believe that. Like, that's just crazy. But I do believe in washing the clothes, getting rid of the things that you no longer need, the clutter, getting that car wash, vacuuming the seats, cleaning the kids' stickers off the windows, the crumbs out the seats. Because, girl, if y'all saw my car right now, y'all be like, ain't no way this girl's sitting on the internet telling us to get our life together. In her back seat floor is looking the way it's looking with those crumbs that need to be vacuumed up. But don't worry about it, because by the first, I'm gonna have it together. But I want you to know that we remember in the beginning I said I help you, me, and us to get our lives together. We need to get that together before the first, okay? Cleaning that room, sorting that laundry, getting that done, getting rid of them jeans that you keep telling yourself that you're going to fit into by next year. And again, that was 2020, babe. Get rid of them and get some that fit instead. That stuff that you know should have been gone. You don't even look at it but once a year to say, oh, and then put it right back in that box. Get rid of it. It has to go. Run that car through the car wash real quick. Even if it's at the gas station, you vacuum it yourself, because that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. Do that before the year starts. The auntie's been telling us to do it, and they ain't wrong, because I got a head start, and it just feels so good to just start getting rid of stuff that you don't need to take into another day with you, let alone another year. Donate what you no longer need. Trash what's trash. Put into a space the things that belong in a space. My mantra whenever I'm going through stuff in my house is, if it needs to be kept, then it has a space a dedicated space. And if it doesn't have a space, then it needs to go in the trash. What are we just holding on to things just sitting around for? Because baby, that post-Christmas clutter with small children was driving me insane. Best believe there is a Goodwill box sitting near my front door and a trash bag directly next to it, the yard size one, because by the 31st it has to go. We gotta clear it out. Now, me personally, my Christmas tree may or may not still be up on the 1st. Don't judge me. But it will be clean around it and the clutter will be gone. Organize that closet, organize that drawer. And the goal of this isn't just to enjoy, of course, being in a clean space, but it's also to reflect what's happening internally. I cannot think straight. I don't know about y'all, but I can't think straight when my space is too all over the place or clutter. Like, I may be able to deal for a day or two, maybe even a week sometimes, but after that it's like, all right, I have to reset, because if not, I'm just gonna lay here and not accomplish anything, because everything else is just laying here not accomplishing anything. And so reset your space to reflect the reset that is happening within you. And then last but not least, I want to give space for the person who feels like them simply making it to the end of 2024 and being here is the thing that they've accomplished. Yes, we've shared a lot of tips and things to do. But for a lot of people, the fact that they've simply survived 2024 is enough. That is the win, because you suffered a lot of loss, you suffered a lot of hardship, you suffered a lot of heartbreak, and to be kept into 2025 is enough. You don't have any insight or foresight as to what it will look like or what you will do or what you might want to accomplish. That is okay too. It is okay to go into 2025 saying, I just want peace, and not to be so overstimulated, and not to be so overwhelmed, and not to be crying every day or having these thoughts that I no longer want to be here. That is enough, because truth of the matter is, simply being here to see the end of the year is a win. It is enough. And if that's your story, sit in that and relish in that. Don't feel bad about that. Don't feel guilty for that. Of course, I don't want you to stay there, but we have to acknowledge where we are first before we're able to move on from it. A lot of people had whirlwinds of a year, and you need that pause. You need that reset. So maybe January, February, maybe the first quarter will be that time for you where you're like, I just need to catch my breath. And then after that first quarter, I can kind of say, all right, where are we going from here? But for now, I just need to take a step back. And only you know what that looks like and what area that looks like it in. Maybe you lost your job at the end of this year and you're like, whoa, I can't make any plans. I have to figure out what my livelihood will look like moving forward. But again, only you know what that looks like. And I also want to note that you shouldn't feel bad about having to add to relief. When I first heard this concept, I thought it sounded kind of crazy, because when you first hear it, it does sound crazy. What do you mean I have to add to my plate in order to relieve? Sometimes you have to add in that intentional thing into your routine, into your schedule, into your day, into your arsenal in order to feel relief in certain areas. And that may be your case. Maybe you got to add in that prayer walk so that you can get outside and not feel so and during the day. Maybe you got to add in that therapy appointment weekly, because it will relieve that stress, even though it adds in an hour of a thing that you have to do every single week. But again, only you know what that looks like. And I don't want you to be too hard on yourself if you're somebody who you made it to the end of the year and that is your win. That is your success going into 25, and you feel like that's all you have to offer, but it's not all, it's enough. So with all of those tips, I hope that at least one of them really stuck out to you, and I hope that you're able to apply it into your year. Let's go ahead and pray, and then we're going to close this video on out. Bow your head, close your eyes, let's get right into it. God, I thank you for every single person that is under the sound of my voice. I thank you for bringing them to this video. I thank you for sharing this information through me, your vessel, and I thank you for giving them the ears to hear and the open heart to allow it to seep into their spirits. God, I thank you for bringing us through another year. Thank you for keeping us another year. So many people have experienced so much turmoil this year, but you've kept us through it all. And through it, we know you better. We know you as a keeper. We know you as a provider. We know you as a father and a friend that will never leave us. God, I ask now that you will make clear to us the steps that you want us to take moving into the new year, no matter what that looks like for each individual watching this, whether that looks like rest or whether that looks like a time to accelerate. Give them clarity and moving forward so that they will know that it is the directive of you and not what they feel like they should be doing or what they're used to doing or what somebody else is telling them to do, but only the directive directly from you. I thank you for keeping us. I thank you for loving us, and I thank you for continuing to bring us to this space where we can share this information with one another. Thank you for sharing your word with us. Thank you for sharing your son with us, and thank you for constantly being a way maker. I ask that you would send your angels into 2025 ahead of us to protect our path, to protect us everywhere we go, to protect us everywhere we walk, and to continue to keep your hand over us as we move into this new year. Help us to remember that no matter what you do, that you're able to do all things. And we'll forever give your name praise, glory, and honor forever and ever. And it's in your name I do pray. Amen. Well, that is the end of episode 27 of Tahari Talks. I really do hope once again that you were able to take something from this episode. If there is somebody that you know could use this episode, don't be stingy. Don't gatekeep. Share it with them. Share it with a friend and a friend and a friend. Share it to your socials and let everyone know that this is a great place to be. Once again, if you have not subscribed to Tahari Talks, go ahead and hit that button for me, as well as the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. It will not be long before we're back with episode 28 of Tahari Talks. I do think that moving into the new year, I may take 1 week off. I may not. I don't know. We will see. I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you all have a great New Year's Eve, a great new year, no matter what that is going to look like. I hope you apply some of the tips and the things that we shared in this video, and it won't be long before we're back for the next episode of Tahari Talks. Take great care of yourself until then, and I will see you in it. Later.